Liverpool spent £446 million, the most ever by a Premier League club in a single window, to strengthen a team that had just won the league. But instead of looking more dangerous, they look weaker. And Chelsea versus Liverpool, it just confirmed what many have feared. So, what exactly is the problem at Liverpool this season? Coming off a title-winning season, Liverpool's mission last summer was clear: evolution, not revolution. Arne Slot had proven himself in his first year, guiding the Reds back to the summit of English football with that trademark intensity, pressing, and tactical balance. So when Fenway Sports Group opened the checkbook like never before, fans expected the next great era to begin. But behind the excitement, there was a quiet unease. Because Liverpool hadn't just added new faces, they'd lost their soul. Luis Diaz, the tireless presser who set the tone for Liverpool's attack, was sold to Bayern, and Trent Alexander-Arnold, one of the cornerstones of their system, joined Real Madrid. Those two exits might have been underestimated until now, because what Chelsea exposed at Stamford Bridge wasn't just tactical flaws, it was an identity crisis. The champions suddenly looked like strangers trying to remember how they used to win, and that's where the story of this match, and maybe Liverpool's season, truly begins. Because at Stamford Bridge, Chelsea didn't just beat Liverpool, they revealed why this team no longer feels like champions. It was chaos again for Liverpool, 2 weeks in a row, 2 defeats in stoppage time, and this time at Stamford Bridge, it was Chelsea's teenage star Estevão who twisted the knife. Liverpool came into this game desperate to respond after their shock 2-1 defeat to Crystal Palace, a game they lost in the 97th minute. But if that match exposed their fragility, this one confirmed it. At Stamford Bridge, Enzo Maresca's Chelsea were injury hit and missing key players, Cole Palmer and half of their defense, yet they looked organized, brave, and aggressive from the start. And in the 14th minute, their intent was rewarded. Moises Caicedo, with a thunderbolt from outside the box, gave Premier League debutant Georgi Mamardashvili absolutely no chance, a goal that summed up Chelsea's confidence and Liverpool's hesitation. Then, in the second half, Arne Slot made attacking changes, pushing Florian Wirtz higher, giving Isak more support, and it worked. A neat link-up saw Cody Gakpo bundle in an equalizer after Isak's cushioned touch. It was scrappy, but Liverpool didn't care. For a brief moment, they looked alive again. But just when it seemed they might escape with a draw, Chelsea surged back. Enzo Fernandez struck the bar with a header. Liverpool's line held on for dear life, and then heartbreak. In the 95th minute, Fernandez slipped the ball wide to Marc Cucurella, whose low cross found Estevão. The teenager reacted first, a tap-in that sent Stamford Bridge into delirium. Chelsea 2, Liverpool 1. Chelsea finished with 53% possession, more corners 7-2, and struck the woodwork twice. Liverpool, for all their 12 shots, only 2 were on target compared to Chelsea's 6, small numbers that spoke volumes. For Maresca, it was a statement win. For Slot, a 3rd consecutive defeat, and a reminder that even champions can look lost when the system stops working. And that's where things get interesting, because this wasn't just about effort or luck. Chelsea looked coached, structured, and dangerous. So how did Enzo Maresca take a patched-up Chelsea side and outplay the Premier League champions? Let's break that down. If you only looked at the team sheets before kickoff, you'd have assumed Chelsea were there for the taking. No Cole Palmer, and both first-choice center backs missing. But Enzo Maresca didn't come to survive. He came with a plan, and that's the difference. From the first minute, Chelsea played like a team that knew exactly what they were doing. Their structure was compact, their pressing triggers were deliberate, and their midfield, that combination of Caicedo, Gusto, and Enzo Fernandez, looked synchronized in a way Liverpool's never did all night. Maresca's system is built around controlled possession, but against Liverpool, it was more than just keeping the ball. It was about dictating rhythm. Chelsea pressed with Reece James tucking into midfield when building, and Marc Cucurella given license to bomb forward on the left. That shape constantly overloaded Liverpool's right-hand side, where Connor Bradley struggled time and time again. Chelsea created 2 versus 1s down that flank. He received a yellow card in the 34th minute, and it was no surprise he was hooked at halftime with Wirtz coming on. Jamie Redknapp called it immediately after the match. Liverpool's fullback zones are a problem, and Chelsea exploited it perfectly. He wasn't wrong, and when Liverpool's midfield failed to close down, Moises Caicedo stepped up and smashed home from 25 yards. That wasn't luck. It was pattern recognition. They had targeted Liverpool's tendency to drop too deep when defending transitions. The battle in midfield was where the game was truly won. Caicedo, in particular, was immense, arguably his best performance in a Chelsea shirt. He didn't just score, he dominated. 100% aerial duels won, 5 ball recoveries, 5 tackles attempted, 4 tackles won, 2 shots, 1 goal. He was playing like he had Jurgen Klopp farewell speech in his mind. Next to him, Malo Gusto quietly handled the dirty work, covering passing lanes, screening Gakpo, and ensuring Wirtz never got space to turn. And then there was Enzo Fernandez, the conductor. He kept play ticking with one-touch passes, switched sides at will, and twice came inches away from scoring himself. One header off the bar, another half volley tipped wide. Gary Neville summed it up perfectly on his podcast. Chelsea's midfield ran all over Liverpool's. Their energy and intent won them the game. Perhaps the most impressive thing, though, Chelsea started with their 4th choice and 5th choice center backs. And even when they both got injured and came off, Chelsea didn't look rattled. Instead, Maresca doubled down on control. He brought on Joral Hato, switched Reece James to the center back position, and kept both fullbacks active in build-up. That bravery, trusting his structure over emotion, made all the difference. By the time Estevão came on in the 75th minute, Chelsea had tilted the pitch. Liverpool were pinned back, chasing shadows, and when the moment came, Maresca's substitution paid off. Fernandez to Cucurella, low cross, and Estevão sliding in for the winner. You could see what it meant. Maresca sprinted down the touchline, pumping his fists, a Mourinho-style celebration that said this wasn't a fluke. It was validation. This was Chelsea's most complete performance of the season. Every player knew their role, every rotation had purpose, and even with half a squad missing, they looked coherent. When you look at the numbers, it's clear who dictated the terms. Chelsea weren't lucky, they were superior, even without their best players. But every dominant performance tells you just as much about the other side. And for Liverpool, this defeat revealed something deeper. Not just a bad night, but a worrying trend. Because while Chelsea looked like a team finding themselves, Liverpool looked like a team caught between two worlds, still searching for who they are under Arne Slot. Slot came into this match with a point to prove. 2 defeats in a row for the defending champions of England. This was supposed to be the reaction. Instead, it was confusion. Liverpool's shape shifted constantly in possession and without the ball. But systems only work when players understand their cues. Liverpool didn't. Jermaine Genius said it on Match of the Day. You can tell they're caught between Klopp's pressing and Slot's positional play, and right now, they're not doing either properly. The pressing lacked bite. The distances were too big. When one went, the rest hesitated. Chelsea played through it easily, especially through Caicedo and Fernandez, who found gap all game long. And defensively, the loss of Trent Alexander-Arnold was more than just a missing right back. It was the loss of Liverpool's creative outlet. Connor Bradley tried his best, but his passing from deep doesn't have Trent's incision. That meant build-up was predictable, funneled down the left, where Luis Diaz's departure left another gaping hole. This midfield, on paper, should be elite. Florian Wirtz, Alexis Mac Allister, Gravenberch, Szoboszlai, technically brilliant, dynamic players. But against Chelsea, they looked disjointed. The balance was off. Wirtz drifted too high, Mac Allister dropped too deep, and Szoboszlai pressed alone. Most times, there was a gap between midfield and attack. It was exactly the kind of chaos Maresca's structure thrives on. Wirtz, in particular, struggled. He had flashes of brilliance, but he never imposed himself. He looked like a player still adjusting to the pace and physicality of English football. As for Alexander Isak, Liverpool's €145 million signing, this was the kind of night that tests your mentality. He assisted the equalizer beautifully, controlling the ball which fell for Gakpo, but for most of the game he was isolated, feeding on half chances. He's too good to disappear, but right now he's not getting the service or the system he needs. Liverpool's back line is a story of instability. With Konate and Van Dijk, you'd expect solidity, but this was anything but. Chelsea constantly found space between the lines. Their positioning for both goals will worry Slot. For Caicedo's strike, they dropped too deep. Van Dijk turned into Cardi B for a minute. They didn't pick Cucurella's run in behind. Van Dijk looked frustrated, constantly barking instructions, waving players forward, trying to keep the line together. So, what did Chelsea versus Liverpool really make clear? That Liverpool's grip on the Premier League crown is slipping, not because of one bad game, but because the pattern has already been written. If you trace it back, the warning signs were there from day one. Against Bournemouth, they looked electric early. Ekitike's goal and assist promised a statement start, but when Slot subbed both fullbacks at once, balance vanished. Bournemouth scored twice in 10 minutes. Only Salah's late brilliance saved them. The win looked strong on paper, but tactically, it was chaos. Then Newcastle, a man up for over an hour, yet barely creating chances. It took a 100th minute winner from 16-year-old Rio Ngumoha to rescue 3 points. Heroic moment, yes, but champions shouldn't need miracles. Arsenal, another experiment. Szoboszlai at right back again. Salah, invisible. One flash of brilliance. That free kick masked a performance that screamed imbalance. Burnley away. The perfect match for Isak. Except he wasn't even in the squad. Liverpool labored through 80 frustrating minutes before scraping a win. Then in Europe, Atletico Madrid, the same story. A brilliant start, a collapse. Van Dijk's 95th minute header to save the night. And then came Galatasaray, where the luck finally ran out. Sloppy defending, another penalty conceded, and a second straight defeat. Across all these games, the thread is undeniable. Late drama, narrow margins, tactical uncertainty. 12 goals scored, 6 conceded, just 2 clean sheets. Compare that to Arsenal's just 3 goals conceded and only 1 loss, ironically to Liverpool themselves. That's what a title challenger looks like. Stable, ruthless, predictable in the right ways. Liverpool, they're thrilling, but fragile, unconvincing, even when they win. And that's the one thing this Chelsea game made painfully clear. Liverpool are no longer playing like champions. They're surviving, not dominating.